There's some ground rules I wanted to cover before we jump into this. I'm going to turn it over to Eric and Satinder, let them introduce themselves. But let me at least cover this. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that this is not meant to be or construed as a recommendation when it comes to investment. And neither is this a presentation to offer or sell. It's not also not one to offer to buy or hold an interest or security. This is really just an opportunity for these two gentlemen to share about their company, talk about the opportunities that they are raising capital in the public markets with a Wonder Fund, but it is completely up to individuals to make those decisions. And it's important for us to let you know that these offerings are made under the SEC rules and regulations provided by the SEC and FINRA, governed by FINRA. So with that said, let me go ahead and introduce Eric and Satinder so that they can go through Pahhni. I've known Satinder for about 20 years now, right, Satinder? We
Yep.
worked at Procter & Gamble together in the water area on pure water. And via Satinder, I met Eric, who's also an ex-Procter & Gamble person, but he also has an illustrious career with GSK, as well as Pfizer, doing a lot of different work there. So he's not new to, neither of these two are new to the consumer goods world or in many ways, healthcare. So let me go ahead and turn it over to them. They can introduce themselves, and then I will turn over the sharing capability over to you, Eric.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, my name is Eric Loomis. I'm CEO of the Satiri Group, which is the parent company of Pahhni Water. A little bit about my background. Spent about 12 years at P&G in upstream R&D. That's when I got my MBA going to night school there. Pfizer's consumer health brand had bought the Thermacare brand, so I transferred over with that. We had an office in Westchester, so I spent about the next 10 years there. And then when GSK and Pfizer did a joint venture with their consumer health business, I ended up reporting to the head of R&D as director of business operations. So we did that remotely for a couple years. And finally they said, you get to move to Richmond or Virginia, New Jersey or London. And I said, none of those, because I have 4 girls, 3 were in high school at the time. And I think I would have been hurt badly. So that's about the time. Satinder and I have always talked. He was my host the day I interviewed at P&G. And then we ended up working in the same group together. So I've known him from since day one at P&G, and that's when we started talking about this idea, and here we are. So I'll let Satinder introduce himself, and away we'll go.
So yes, Dr. Satinder Barraj. I'm ex-P&G. As Eric mentioned, I was a global R&D manager in healthcare in all my life at P&G. And as Marvin mentioned, one of the brands I did work on was Pure, PUR, and basically my charge was to help with moving the R&D, because the company was based out in Minneapolis, move the R&D down to Mason, and then the production that went down into Mexico City. I was part of the NSF, which is the National Sanitary Foundation, as the company representative, setting up all the rules and regs for filtration products. So that worked really well. When I came out of P&G in 17, there was an incubator here in Hamilton that asked me to be on their scientific advisory board. Basically, they were bringing in water companies to incubate. So we had 70 companies come in, and then from those we would pick 3 or 4 and then incubate those to move forward. That's when we found out about Hamilton's water, and the rest, as they say, is history. And this is here we are. We have a great product in place, and would love to tell you about it and see how we can get this moving to the next level. So yes, as as you see on the screen, Eric Loomis is the CEO of the Sateri Group, of which Pahhni Premium Alkaline Water is a brand, and I am the COO. Next slide, please. So during our research, what we found out is that consumers, sorry, is this somebody speaking in the background? Sorry, consumers prefer naturally occurring ingredients in their drinking water. 46% of consumers are willing to pay a higher premium for product with natural ingredients. Next slide, please. So one of the other things that, while doing our background research, we looked at what alkalinity brings. See, the alkaline environment in the body is optimal for the functionality of our immune system. So if you look at it holistically at the cellular level, the body is slightly alkaline at its optimum optimum functionality. This makes the body more resilient against stress, toxin, and viruses. The other thing that alkaline water brings to the marketplace is that there are studies out there, clinical studies out there, that show that alkaline water provide a superior hydration for the health-conscious consumer. So the absorption is much faster than regular water for the same amount of water. Part of this, we have all those papers listed down as well. So these are actual studies that have been reported out. Next slide, please. So our GTM is working. We launched our company in 2021. We were supposed to be in our facility in October of 21, but because of COVID and supply chain issues, we were not able to come in until June of 2022. We started production in August, production and distribution in 2022. However, basically we had kind of missed half the water season at that point. So we feel that 2023 was our first full year in participating in the full season, water season, etc. We have access to nearly 1,500 convenience stores across the tri-state and the Midwest. So we're talking Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, up into Wisconsin, Michigan, and Wisconsin. We also have our e-commerce in place from our website. We are on Walmart.com, we are on Amazon, and we are on the TikTok shop as well. The next step where we're moving to right now is starting to look at distributors, and we are working right now, having conversations with at least 5 or Midwest distributors, and we're excited about all of that. Next slide. So when most of our retailers right now are C-stores, convenience stores, we are also in specialty food stores because everybody there is looking for a natural product, and as well as gyms and high intensive training workout places. Once again, going back to the clinical study that shows this alkaline water hydrates you much faster than regular water. Next.
So I'm going to jump in here. This is a snapshot bottled water industry and market from 2020. The global beverage market, 1.5 trillion. And then you drill down, global bottled water market, 230 billion, US bottled water market, 61 billion, and alkaline water, 1 billion. By 2024, study and data shows the market should grow about 6 times faster than regular bottled water, and 60% of the world's alkaline water consumers are in the US. So we're positioned very well for growth, both in the US and in the alkaline bottled water category. The Pahhni difference. So this chart basically shows Pahhni in the first column, and we have some of our competitors and other popular water brands across the top. So you have Essentia, the current market leader, Alkaline 88. They're an alkaline water that you'll see a lot of times in an aluminum bottle. Life Water, Smart Water, Core. I think Smart Water just did come out recently with an alkaline water. And as you look down the left side, you know, some of our differentiators were natural, meaning all the other alkaline waters are generated artificially, and we can talk about what that means a little later. Award-winning great taste. We'll also touch on that later. We're a two-time gold medal winner at the Berkeley Springs International Water Tasting Competition. Our source water, apologies, is the two-time gold medal winner. Aesthetic appeal, that's subjective, but we definitely check that box. Alkaline pH and single source. Single source is probably one of the most important things on here, because when you have a product that taste is a main component, you need that reproducibility. And we absolutely check that box. And it's an example I like to use here is, I think Coke has, I don't know what the number is now, 32 different formulas worldwide, because they don't make it in one place and ship it. They have a formula and you make it whatever country you're in. Well, if you've ever had a Coke in Europe, it tastes very different than a Coke in the US. So that single source is very important to us from a taste perspective. And this is just another slide that shares that our source water was that gold medal winner, which I already talked about. The leadership team, Satinder and I, we've already given you our background, but here's a slide in case you want to revisit. Pro forma. So year one, we did almost $75,000 in revenue, volume of 62,000, almost 63,000 bottles. This year, we're hoping to, quintuple that, around 350,000. That's going to come from, you know, it's the whole launching a new brand. You're constantly climbing a ladder of raise awareness, availability, right? And you have to have those two go hand in hand as you go up. You can't be available everywhere and nobody knows about you. You can't have everybody know about you and you're not available anywhere. So we're very positive and bullish that this year is going to at least reach those numbers. One distributor should help us reach those numbers, and we're currently talking to 5. So we're really excited and bullish about this. And then the future year projections, you see they go up dramatically. That's when we are launching our additional flavors or blends. That's basically doubling all the facings on the shelf when you add one additional SKU. And then here's our ask. Convertible debt, $250,000. This will be our first ask. We've broken this one up based on a buy-in of 5,000, which is a B class unit that gives you additional discounts, or if the everyday investor just wants a piece of the action, the minimum unit is $100. I think everything else on this side is pretty self-explanatory. Valuation cap 10 million, and then 2 years to conversion on series funding round. We would, after fulfilling this funding round, the next one will likely be $1 million, and then after that, 3 to 5 million. So what are we going to do with this 250,000? Expand our sales distribution. We definitely can add a few salespeople. We want to invest in product extensions. Satinder and I have many ideas, and we've narrowed those down to what our next line extension would be, and that's important to get that in the works. And then invest in marketing. Right now, we're doing very much guerrilla marketing. That's almost entirely on social media. We just got our Google Ads account unsuspended, which is hilarious. It was suspended probably a year ago because I had launched it under my personal account and we wanted to switch it to a commercial account. Sounds great, except Google doesn't want you to have 2 accounts. They think you're trying to game the system. So we've spent the last year making revisions and submissions to get that unsuspended, which is important because Google owns about 90% of the online advertising real estate. So that's exciting to get that going again too. Yeah, this is just a snapshot of our families. They're our rock and our support, and if we ever need extra help, that's who we rely on to come in and put in some hours.
Yeah.
Pahhni in the news, we've been in several local magazines and journals about the business and our backgrounds and what we're trying to do, which is very exciting. It's always good to have as much awareness out there as you can. And that's it. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll open it to any questions.
Eric, can you share a little bit about your strategy with some of the influencers and some of the new partnerships that you guys announced this week?
Yeah, Satinder, do you want to go through that, or I can do it?
Yeah. So we from the NCAA, so March Madness, with in full steam, we have two NIL athletes, one from FAU, Nick Boyd, and Nick Boyd from FAU, and one from UNLV, Luis Rodriguez. So those two kids are very high on their teams in terms of going into the NBA. So they are slotted for that. A lot of scouts have looked at them. So they love our water. The hydration really works for them, as well as the taste. So we are using them as influencers. The bigger one that we just signed last week, his name is Kendrick Perkins. He is an NBA champion. He was part of the Lakers and the and Boston Celtics as well. He has come on board while he has only 500,000 followers. He is on NBA Today daily, and he can have the bottle on his desk. So we think that is huge for in terms of really taking this to the next level. He has a lot of connections in terms of athletes. And if you look at the history of how Essentia got to where it was, basically what they were doing was they were dropping off pallets at the athletes, and that's how it all started moving forward. So we feel we're in a very good place with Kendrick Perkins. We are also working with the former world heavyweight boxing champion of the world, Lehman Brewster. He was a world champion 2004, 2006, once again, utilizing him for all his contacts in the boxing world, in tournaments, etc. That will be announced here probably in the next couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. He was out in California the past he just got inducted into the Indiana Hall of Fame, and he's getting inducted into the Nevada Hall of Fame, of which we will be part of all of those festivities and getting in front of all those eyes in Las Vegas. So yeah, so a lot of and we do have other influencers. We have Michelle Robinson, a huge local artiste. She is very jazzed about our water, and we have many others who are the same. So very exciting as we grow in this very competitive marketplace.
So
Well said. Thank you.
how much has been invested to date, and at what point do you break even?
So it's a good question. I think we're a little over about 1.2 million about this point, and we're looking at it not so much as a break even, but when do we get cash flow positive? Because once that arrow points in the right direction, I mean, it's a matter of time before we break even. So 300 cases a week is our cash flow positive goal. We're currently doing 60 to 80 cases a week, and we hope to hit that later this year. And then it's just a question of the math when we get the true break even of recoup our investment, but that should be the following year.
Okay, so my next question is two parts. One, where did the name come from? Is it in any way a nod to Parks and Recreation?
So Parks and Recreation, not intentionally. And the name is actually, and it's a funny story because it's probably something that should have taken some of the most time, and it's probably one of the things that was one of our quickest decisions. So when we would meet as we were brainstorming the business, we would often meet at Satinder's house, and his mom would make us chai tea. Well, chai means tea. So whenever anybody orders chai tea, they're ordering tea, which is, a little bit of an oxymoron. So I asked him one day, I'm like, well, what do you call water in your native tongue, which is Punjabi? And he said, Pahhni. And we just looked at each other like, there we go. And I think the only difference is that we have thrown in the extra H. So I call that our FedEx arrow. So it says in the middle. And if you don't know what the FedEx arrow is, the negative space in the FedEx symbol makes an arrow. So that's kind of our subliminal, part of messaging in that brand. But that's exactly where it came from.
Are there any outlets in Louisville carrying it?
So are we in Louisville? I know we've been to a couple places in Kentucky.
Yeah, no, we are not in Louisville, Lexington yet. We are
Okay.
working with, we are working with a distributor called Pure Beverage, who
Right.
handles Indiana and Kentucky. So we're having conversations with them. Once that happens, then yes, that will definitely be part of getting out there. We will
So-
be actually, yeah, I am talking to one of my contacts who has but I think he's in Lexington. So
Okay. Any other final thoughts that you guys want to share? Any other insights as to where the company's going, things you want people to know?
so yeah, I think as I mentioned, we are very heavily focused right now on distribution. So that is hopefully we will get LOIs with them, and we can share those. And then you saw that Trenton Irvin re-signed with the Bengals. So that's another person who we've already had conversations with last year, and he is interested. So we will pursue him moving forward. The we have already reached out to the Lakota Family YMCA's, so they're on board. So we should be in there by April. And then Clock Tower,
we'll have to
Westchester.
wait
Sorry.
and see on Lakota. We're just having issues with our vending machine. We're gonna have to find another one. So that's on the list. We hope it's April, but that might be later.
So and then the Clock Tower Westchester apartment complex going up. We have engaged with, and they have gotten our application. So it's a matter of getting in there as they finish up and start renting out. So that also is happening by May, June. Our conversation with the suppliers to Kroger is going well. Kroger will be having their beverage meetings here in March, April. However, this is for the long term. I think this is for next year, but that also is going very well. And we keep adding gyms and others. So it's an exciting time. And as the weather changes, we're excited.